everybody, welcome to the channel. Happy Valentine's Day. It is February 14th. I hope today is treating you kindly. I spent all morning writing down my notes, so I'm gonna separate it out in about 3 different videos, but here is the first allotment. So, the curator feels he owns all of life upon the planet. He's wheeling and dealing with his buddies regarding the planetary life force, its energy, its source connection, its powerful gifts. He's trying to wheel and deal and bargain with people. One of them is asking if a woman's home is in the rural area, a suburbs. He's looking to harvest the inheritance or the wealth out of a divine feminine. These are the nasty jacks who are either AI augmented or they are just vampiric dead men, basically, looking for a handout because they screwed up and cut themselves off from life and source. They could be interdimensional time-traveling pirates looking for treasure also. Again, they were talking about the suburban areas and they're talking about recover. So they were gambling with the earth angels and their gifts. So they decided that if they were to bury them and then bury them under a ton of blame and shame and suffering, that they would gather the inheritance of the earth angels and that they would be elevated up out of this system and then receive that inheritance. Unfortunately for them, God was able to see your shine, earth angel, and then they're talking about you as though you are the phoenix. So you are the risen phoenix. You have been reclaimed and emancipated and led into an ascension. You've been gifted rewards and wealth and authority in the spirit, although here in this space you may not understand what that is just yet. So they want to recover the earth angels because they have been living their life being funded by the earth angels merchandise. So their magic failed. They were not able to do magical des. They were not able to do magical harvesting or identity swapping or any of that. It did not work. So now they're wanting to do a 3D thing. So they're stalking people. They lost their secret weapon, the energy connections to the womb of power. They need to recover this energy source. She has been emancipated. Now, I'm speaking in the micro as a singular person, but there are many females and there are also many masculines out there who have a powerful feminine energy. So please just do what you need to do with the genders and know that this is a macro reading being read as a micro. Okay, so not intending to offend anybody or to cut anybody out of the story. They are sending out a hitman or a KID napper who will then leave an anonymous suicide note, it looks like. So one has already been written, apparently, and they've already gotten somebody to sign a death certificate. So someone is out there talking about general readings. There's something about 29 years ago. For me, 29 years ago was when the mental psychic attack started for me. And they had concluded that they had conquered me. So 29 years ago, something may have happened for you as well. And may it all go back on this so-called conqueror. Every experience of the last 29 years. May they be blessed. 29 years ago, somebody's life was in the toilet. They were cursed or transferred into a sort of hell realm. They had a choice to make, according to Spirit. And they could either choose to become that hell space, to give in to it, to become malice, to be angry and seek vengeance, or they could choose to live and to remain loving, even though the world is taking big craps on their head. The collective chose to remain loving, to heal themselves back to health with this care for self, the internal divine. The divine stated a couple of years ago that everyone had made their choice, and those who had not made a choice had one made for them. Everyone was tested. It seems those who were trapped by addictions have chosen life. I feel, this is my personal opinion, but I'm not God, so, pray about it or come up with your own ideas about it. But in my opinion, even should the natural cannabis extract be used, like the CBD, the CBG, the CBC, that kind of stuff, to be used for the pain and the inflammation and perhaps to lighten the mood. That is natural medicine. It is not a mind F. It is not the couch lock, become a little potato or a sex fiend kind of thing. It's actually medicine that is healthier for the kidneys and the internal mechanism of the temple housing spirit and soul. The synthetic created medicines, they are very bad for the temple housing spirit and soul. So do your research. These extracts of these plant medicines affect everybody differently. And I'm not a doctor. I only have my own experience, but I have undergone 23 years of severe spiritual warfare. So my brain and my spirit and all of that, it will be most definitely different from others who have not experienced this kind of intensity. And I'm not saying that, anybody else's experiences are less than. I'm just saying there's level 1, 2, 3, and then 10, right? So, okay. So these nasty men believe that if their synthetic medicines are in somebody's body, that they own the soul at the time of wealth transfer. They are told that you chose life and they don't actually need, and that you don't actually need their toxic medicine. They're being told that you need a non-toxic environment, clean water, non-poisonous food, proper nutrition, and exercise. These ones have been using these synthetic medicines as a soul trap. They toxify the flesh body, and they get folks on these fake medicines, and then they call in a harvest. So there's a bunch of masculines that appear to be in this godly space or whatever, right? And this curator has been over there working with them. The curator has been talking about Kabbalah. So take it as it resonates as to the identities of this collective. There is a group of masculines over there that are arguing with this curator who lost you. You were his secret weapon. You were a sacrifice thousands of years ago, and these other masculines put this curator in charge of translating your intellectual messaging, this stuff that the higher divine was sending you. They cursed your crown, wrapped it, and then they intercepted the messaging, and then they interpreted it. Problem is that this messaging was coded for your soul, and so they got it wrong. They interpreted your messaging wrongly, and they led everybody down a path of incoherency. So anyway, those masculines are arguing with this curator, and the curator is saying, what about me? So it sounds like these masculines in this space want to replace him with this woman. They're saying that she is necessary. See, these guys really thought that they could poison the land, the air, the water, the food, and that they could get everybody on these synthetic medicines and then curse them with addictions and this caparat, this transfer of sin, right? And that at the end of this system of things, that they would all be burned to a crisp. So in the Bible, I got it back here in another space. So apparently, where was that? Maybe I can just pull it up real quick. Zechariah 2:5, God promises to build a wall of fire around Jerusalem, and apparently everything outside of that is then burned to a crisp. So what's been going on is they've been tainting the food supply. They've been putting human sacrifice. Everything is run on human sacrifices. They've been putting those the flesh into the meat grinders and then tainting the food supply and framing all of humanity as being cannibals, eating from the tree of life, which would be other human beings. You're not supposed to do that. So they framed everybody to do that just so that they could hide the fact that they actually do, right? Right. So then they toxified everything, and they thought for sure that they were going to be able to harvest or claim the inheritance or the property of the earth angels, their merchandise, their God-given grace. So they thought that if they could frame all of them, violate their essence as they were sleeping, to do that orgy magic, and then to harvest the energy, go out and do an orgy, and then come back and place that energy back on the person. They have been violating and defiling people in this way for a long time. So now these leaders that put this curator in charge of interpreting this beautiful upper divine being, their message system, is now asking them, well, what about me? Because they're saying that she is necessary. Now that they didn't get the golden ticket, they're stuck here. So they need somebody with the healing capacity to mend the waters, to heal the soils, to bring everything back to life. And it's really sad. Because I've got pages here of what I was listening to. So they're planning on letting her heal this place for 2 years. And then they're planning on flipping and copycatting her. Once she has made all of this stuff, got everything gathered, got everything in alignment, the programs, the health and well-being, the natural medicines, got everything safe and secure, built the relationships, made the friends, let everybody know she's trustworthy, valuable, honorable, ethical, moral, true. She truly wants your best things. And then they want to flip and copycat her with the replacement who actually wants to then tear all that down and re-enslave everybody. So these men in this space right now are talking with this curator, saying that they need to make an adjustment. They need to recover the merchandise. The curator wants to harvest her, and even though she's been emancipated, he keeps insisting that she needs medicine, and he keeps sending these interdimensional slavers or whatever to try to harvest her. He's been unsuccessful. So these others now want to switch tactics. Now it sounds like they want to embrace this woman, welcome her, and let her do her healing work to get herself established, to make friends, build relationships, and after a couple of years, they want to flip and copycat her. They want to flip her into a self-node suffering. They want to gang RIP or do whatever they do to do that. And then they want to copycat her, transfer her soul value, her memories, her identity, and everything else into somebody else. So these men are professionals when it comes to luring in and using people's gifts to their own benefit. These are phony friends with need. And they have a strategy to eliminate this divine feminine's presence after she does the work and builds the reputation and builds a business. They complain that she has an attitude, and they are told that she only has an attitude with him and his nasty friends because they are just foul and freaking nasty. She has to listen to them threaten her life every moment of every day. And every moment of every day, she's expecting them or their buddies to pop up and try something to affect her life in the negative. So yes, she has an attitude toward them because they are threatening her life every moment of every day. Whole collective of nasty, jealous men who look at her as their inheritance. They're saying that if she needs this medicine, they're being told that these people, the human beings that have been poisoned, toxified, and then put on a synthetic medicine that literally continues to poison the body while it masks symptoms, and it has a heavy metal or something in it that they use as a connector and a bridge to the consciousness, and then they use that as a connector and a bridge to the Star Nation Soul Tribe to get up there where you're facing your energy and to replace you. So this is what they've been doing. They're being told that all you need is clean water, non-poisonous food, a clean environment, exercise, proper nutrition, and apparently selenium. They're calling you necessary. They're saying that you can bring homeostasis another way, that you don't need this synthetic poison to mask the symptoms. They really did a lot of damage, and they are stuck with it. They need a healer. So their method of operandus has been to sacrifice and claim a harvest. This earth angel's intellectual property, their God-given inheritance, their authorities, their identities, their energy, their source connection. Of course, they can't interpret source-connected messaging because it's not meant for them. So they get it wrong while wearing your face. And God's down here right now, like wondering, why are my daughters acting like freaking Jezebel floozies and stealing from each other and being such little bitches when I'm giving them the messages? Well, that's why, because everybody's in a false temple. They're stealing, they're body snatching people. These are a parasitical entity from another dimension. They're body snatching people. They were not able to successfully harvest this earth angel. She's been emancipated from their capture. She was a prisoner of war, and she has been emancipated. This curator has been hunting her still, and he does not want to stop. But his overlords are trying a different approach to get her to come into agreement, to see them as friend, and then to bring a healing to the damage that they've done, thinking that they were going to be emancipated out of this. They want her to agree to stay with them and to pour her life force into healing the damage that they purposely did, thinking that she was going to be trapped there and suffering. So now they want to convince her that they are her friend so that she stays and agrees to fix the shit that they did, thinking that she was the one who was going to be stuck with it while they siphoned her soul value out. So they want her to come into an agreement to bring a healing to their land, to their lives, and to allow them this energetic entanglement, a partnership, a relationship. In the hushed shadows, they discuss how they're going to eliminate her once they are done using her. These masculines smiling in her face are not trustworthy. They are not friends. They're villainous, malicious frauds. actors. They're not even real men. These are the parasites that have body snatched somebody. So they're saying as long as the people feel she is good for them, then she gets to stay in God's rainbow covenant position. The curator is arguing back and forth with them. He'll be waiting in the shadows, waiting for these masculines to finally give him permission to claim her, which they say they're going to do in 2 years after she is done doing the healing work. So he and his buddies have really huge fantasies about torturing her. They keep saying that I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know the first thing I'm going to do. I know the first thing. They got this big freaking malicious desire to torture this woman. And these men that are trying to convince her that they're her friend and that they're accepting her into this kingdom and that they're in full support of her work and her effort, they are making plans that within 2 years' time, they will flip her into a South Node suffering by a violent betrayal and brutalization, and then download or upload her soul value, memory, and covenants and authorities to their puppet. So they're rethinking their strategy because the curator wasn't as clever as everybody had thought he was. They've lost their secret weapon, which was this royal divine being that they had trapped as an enemy of war or a prisoner of war. They need her gifts. They need to recover her energy. They need to recover this source connection. She's a soprano. So she's up there in the highest dimensional spaces. And they need to get her back. So they need to convince her that they have her best interest at heart, where they don't. Within 2 years, they're planning to torture her and give her to this devil to consume her soul. So they need to try to convince her to heal the damage that they have caused, all while planning to sacrifice and entrap her soul after the work is done so that they can continue harvesting off of it and claiming this upper dimensional soprano identity. And use her as a bridge and a connector into this upper dimensional space to bring war and havoc to the others there. They need to change their tune. They need to pretend friend a woman when they despise her with everything they are. She's just a woman. They hate women. They need to suck her in again to gain an energetic entanglement, and they need her to be willing to give them access to all that she is. They're being told she's popular, so they gotta let her get established, make friends, and then flip and copycat her, replace her, then destroy her reputation yet again. Any masculine needing you to heal the damage that they have done are not collaborating as a team. They are collaborating as future red remming pirates. So I pray, God, please don't let this woman be used by these men. Don't let her get entrapped or ensnared by them. Don't let her energy, her essence, her love be utilized by those who secretly hate her. Or please evict them out of this space and never allow them to be served by the beauty of her heart. Amen. These are the same men who for thousands of years have sat back and done nothing about stopping this program of trafficking souls, sex trafficking, slave trafficking. They get them for all kinds of reasons. Apparently, they make them run through the forest while they hunt them. They just get off on it. And now they're trying to convince her that they are decent people who deserve her care, her healing, only because they failed to destroy her. These are the same ones that are smiling in her face, that were trying to steal her soul, that have been ravaging her mind for decades. The same ones that put this curator in this position are now telling this curator to back off on his attempt to harvest her because they're going to approach it differently. They're going to play friends, and then they're going to do it in a couple of years. They're going to take their time. They need healing. Her essence, her presence, her energy is necessary to heal the damage they've done. So these needy men are pretending to care for her and accept her. They are harvesters of beautiful divine feminine's life force and source-connected womb of power. With that womb, the mother gets to say who comes through the womb portal or who does not. And when they control that womb, they can bring whatever they want through it. And they have done that with these breeding programs that are hidden from the citizenry. They violated the womb of power of women for a long time. So they're trying to backpedal their way into the energy, into the having connection with the soul status and the gifts. They're talking of capturing her 3D vessel. They are filing a death certificate, leaving an suicide note, commanding her in whatever fake life they force her to take on. So it was like they wanted to they want to write an suicide note. They want to come in and do a KID napping, and they want to capture this woman, and they want to file a death certificate. They want to pretend like she has just completely expired and is gone from society. And then they want to do some kind of a weird birth certificate, and then they want to give her a new identity, and then they want to command her and her gifts and her source connection and her influence in the world. They want to command her voice and her energy and all of that stuff that they like to cause suffering to. They want to harvest the soul. They dissolve it, liquefy it, suck it up through a straw. I don't know. These might be spider entities, because they really do kind of suck the life out of people like a spider. Like when I had my feeding tube in, it's like they would come in and they would put an acid or something. It was like this black, and it would tingle and kind of spread out this black, painful tingling. And then they would come in and suck it out of this straw, this energy. So they were dissolving the soul or the spirit and then sucking it out of this straw. For 18 years, they did that to me. This life force. So they want to harvest the soul, and these are the red and blue, the head and the tail of the snake. These are the head and the tail of either side of the coin. These are the political people and their unseen puppet that has been jerking people back and forth. Now, this feminine has been emancipated from that system. She's no longer captive to anybody, any political party, any religious faction, none of that. She's got direct link and connection with Source Creator, Mother, Father, God, Goddess, creators of all that is. She's going a completely different way. God said that the land was going back to the indigenous people, that the people would be given a life that they don't want to run away from, and that she is in position to help them with that. Now, that's a whole third option, but you've got this head and this tail, this thing that they've been using, this medicine. Here in a later spot, the curator says that if there's the medicine within the body, that has to go into the fire. So they've been using this as a soul trap for a long time. They've been poisoning the body, and then they've been driving people into their medical system, which is actually sick care. And then they've been getting everybody on these medicines, which are actually just poisons and toxins and links to the consciousness. And then once they get that link, they have that bridge and connector to the Star Nation Soul Tribe, and then they wreak havoc there. So they're saying if there's medicine in the body, it has to go into the fire. It has to be recycled. And this is what their plan was all along. A great harvest of earth angels that they poisoned, toxified, and drove their minds into failure and anger and upset and lack as they siphoned everybody's wages through these stupid tax systems, right? They drove everybody into failure. They wanted God to see them as that, and they wanted God to burn them all up, his own beautiful family. While they harvested the energy and then presented themselves as that, no, there's nothing good about these people. So this dignitary has been emancipated from both of these groups, but they're trying to come up with a strategy which would gain them access and the reins to her vehicle, to her house, her destined path. They want to tell her what needs to be done, and then they want her to do it until it is all done, and then they plan on transferring her soul memory and value to their preferred look-alike puppet, who will then sit on that throne and screw everybody up once more, just like they did last time. But that's not ever going to happen, because the mother stated that these ones will not be obtaining her, and that they won't survive trying. So, and the father said that they were going to get what they deserved, and that is not this beautiful earth angel energy. Absolutely not. They won't be getting it. This is the end of their relationship with batteries, and that means that all stars and suns, as far as I'm concerned, according to God, are safe. But that doesn't stop these ones from coming for that, right? They need an agreement. And even if you were to agree your kind heart to kind of support somebody, I don't know that that would be allowed. Like, you would either have to forfeit your stuff and take on their karma, which I don't think anybody wants to do that. At this time, God is delivering vengeance. Anybody who goes out and says has a soft heart and wants to help somebody right at this time is taking on God's vengeance. I mean, that's just not wise, especially if God has treated you kindly. So, I pray that these masculines never be served by the divine feminine again. These men are not friend or partners. They're not protectors. They're not guides. They want to command the divine feminine's gifts, her life force energy, her God-given wealth, and all of the choices that she makes in this world and the influence that she has in it. They are upset over her free will. They are upset that she lives in the United States and the Constitution is protecting her freedom of speech, what she's speaking on. They are mad that the people like her. They really want her gone, but they have to play friend in order to play in the energy and cast illusions in it. And they're hoping that they can get their replacement accepted by these ones. These men lack every ounce of decency. They want to smile in the face of this divine feminine. They want to welcome her with open arms. They want to give her a list of chores. And then they want to replace her after she does them. They will claim to love, to protect, to build with, while having every intention of sacrificing that soul and consuming it 2 years after they are sane. Last cycle, this woman's soulmate came from this group of people. And he turned around and sacrificed her and then prostituted her womb of power, life cycle after life cycle, for centuries. A masculine in this group betrayed the wedding vow. And now they're coming in and they're trying to, knowing that she doesn't remember, who they are, because they poured acid into her brain. They did everything they could to shut down this oracle in the spirit and in the many lifetimes that they have given her of brutality. Collaboration with these men touting themselves leaders is an suicide mission. They cannot be trusted. They hate women. They say it's just a woman. They don't have any respect for the woman. She is the magistrate. She is identifiable. And apparently she's signing the paperwork. These ones are appearing to fight for her, to be her support. But in the background, they have this plan with the curator. It's a 2-year plan. It's a 2-year healing and recovery, and then getting back on it with the human sacrifice bullshit. They have to kind of put up with her because she's identifiable. And their other copycat hobags are not her. It's plain as seen. And others are here who genuinely support her. So this is really terrible, because within this environment, there are those who genuinely support her, but there are those masculines and some feminines who actually want her gone. They've been controlling this space for some time and the life that is in it. They have had a free-for-all freaking festival of soul harvesting while portraying themselves as righteous. These ones have stated that they are going to have to put up with the Marys for a while, because they're planning to gain an agreement, a relationship, to get some kind of a partnership, to get them to work in and support them, and then to rebind them and retrap that essence. They need a relationship. They need permission to play in the energy. They are not protectors and guides. They don't create anything. They take credit for other people's creations. The history proves it. The memories of tortured cries coming from RAPED women and children prove it. Centuries. Memory fragments of centuries. And I don't speak a lot on the men, and I mean no disrespect, fellas, but I can't really speak on men and their historical experiences because I'm not a man, But I mean no disrespect. I know that you have been extremely violated, manipulated. These mutant men, these fakes, they do not have the best interest of the mother in mind. They say it's just a woman. She who gave them life. It's just a woman. And they don't care about ending her life. It's just a woman. Valueless. And yet they received the opportunity to breathe and speak because of her. They're so completely disrespectful of the life giver. It's just, it blows my mind how they can think that they have earned some kind of blessing by God. They insist that it is a man who must command this woman's energy. They say that she is too powerful. But the power does not belong to this woman. The power flows through this woman. She is crowned by the Most High Divine, and she is rooted deeply in the shadows. And the realms of the upper and the under have been unified in her. They are seated here in the soprano position. The power that's flowing in this tree belongs to the two tribes that have been unified by it. So when these masculines say that she is too strong, she's too powerful, she's going to do this, she's going to do that, they're projecting their own desire to dominate and destroy others. She does not do that. For centuries, they've been abusing her, torturing her, burning her alive. I mean, in many torturous ways, ending her life, hating her, cursing her. And she still did not become malice or vengeance. She still served them with love. The power isn't hers. The power flows through her. It belongs to the crown and the root of her planetary stabilizing tree. She has many multiversal guides and counselors. And these nasties insist that she doesn't have the responsibility to manage this well. They insist that it's all about her because in their mind, it's always been about them. Whereas the mother knows that the crown cannot be gained unless the root is stable. So when the root and the crown come together in union, they are equal. One cannot exist without the other. And the fact that these bark beetles have been here in the middle ground, gnawing on the freaking flesh temples of people, damaging and separating and destroying the bridge of the crown and the root within people, purposefully. They have destroyed the stabilization of the planetary realm, and then they lecture everybody on responsibility. So she's got counselors and guides throughout the whole multiverse who have all came together and under consensus have agreed that this should be the planetary representative. And you've got a lot of these nasty jacks that have claimed to be chosen ones only because they were successful with their magic and their transfer magic of these earth angels and their merchandise and their identities. They want to take what the multiverse has agreed with. God and council have appointed her as representative. And these slavers want to fight about it. Their favorite weapon of war is a relationship disguised as marriage contract or some kind of partnership or collaboration. They get into these bloodlines or these businesses and then they destroy them. They siphon the wealth out of them, the life out of them. These are near perfect replicas of human beings, but there is no humanity in them. Nothing they say is sincere. These are imposters from a different dimensional realm belonging only to men. I was there. There's like all men. Some of them are wearing dresses and high heels, and some of them are not, and they're paired up as spouses. That's their dimension. But they have infiltrated this space, attacking the womb of power, the portal, bringing forth life. They wanted to command it, trap it, and while they were there, they were putting atrazine in the waters, which is scientifically proven to change the genders in frogs, and they were attacking the gender and the biology of masculinity, trying to turn them into their bitch while they harvested the Star Nation Soul Tribe's wealth out of the child and the mother of the realm. And they were prostituting their poor little wombs and their poor little spines, the corpuscles of the spines, in this hyper-sexualized environment. They were making money. They turned this whole place into a freaking brothel. And everybody bought into it, right? It was fun, right? Reckless sex. So they are here to claim the womb of power of the realm, the portal of the realm, and all spiritual inheritances of everyone who comes through that portal within the realm, and the life of everything that moves through that portal in the realm. They were trying to claim God's kingdom by dominating the daughters and the sons of Eden. They're talking about this woman having an order of protection over her. And they are talking about vehicles. Now, these ones, they've been driving the spiritual chariots of people. Now, when your physical form is in bed and you're sleeping, your spirit self is in the 4D or wherever you're at, and you're out there doing your stuff. They were getting into those vehicles, your chariot, and doing things as you. So there's an order of protection over you. And there's I feel there should be an order of protection over everyone's spiritual self while they were in their bed sleeping. Because you've got these AI augmented people that have falsely gained access into these upper dimensional spaces. And they Agent Smith the sleeping spirit. And they do shit in that space to hurt people. I watched it happen to me one time. It's like God or my guardian or my protector or whatever came and got me. And then we went over there in this other space and I saw myself sleeping there. And then we watched a freaking Agent Smith witch get in there and start sewing myself into a freaking cellophane bag. Incredible, man. So yeah, they have been driving the vehicles, the temple of people in these other spaces. And that's how they've been casting the illusions of our unfavorableness or whatever. So could be that these entities that have been following the curator doing his dirty deeds in exchange for the life force, the life energy of a star or a sun being. So they could be talking about cars, literal cars. Like somebody may need a ride to go do a thing to this woman. She has an order of protection over her. They're talking about vehicles. So they could be talking about the flesh temples that move the spirit and soul throughout the realms. Or they could actually be talking about a vehicle. These nasties are in fraudulent vehicles. And that's why I think it's the temple housing spirit and soul. The vehicle that carries the spirit and soul through the realms. Meaning their flesh temple. So they are in fraudulent temples. These are body snatchers. Pod people, these are body snatchers. That spiritual chariot that they are driving around in does not belong to them. These are Agent Smith parasitical entities. And they're driving around a sacrificed being's chariot. So there seems to be fraudulent vehicles, clones, animated corpses operating on the harvested soul light and value of an actual living being. Perhaps somebody wants to frame this megastreet as being fraudulent. They might want to trap her spiritual vehicle by doing some nasty thing. It is used as a connector and a bridge to the upper dimensional soul tribe that she has hailed from, and they want this connection. They want to get back up there and make war with this family. They want to harvest her energy here, and they want to wear her face there, and they want to do nasty things like the last time to destroy her reputation. It could be that someone has been discovered buying a vehicle under a different woman's name. These masculines are objecting this woman's elevated status and authority. They are saying that they have to take this woman out of this position. They are attempting to strip her from the upper dimensional being. This is a soprano of the upper realms who is here in position. She is like a high level upper dimensional being that they had trapped as a prisoner of war. God has resurrected her and elevated her into this ascension and given everything to her according to the curator's complaint. And all of these masculines who have been having a great life while she was suffering under their prisoner of war, whatever, their little harvesting fiasco, they're really, really mad. They want to trap this soprano again. They want to recover this soul essence and these gifts because that was their secret weapon. That was how they were gaining so much success, by coming up and moving against other tribes. They've lost their secret weapon. They need to get it back. They got to suck it in. They got to suck her in. They got to make her think they're their friends. But this whole collective of masculines has been working with this curator, transferring souls, marrying people, sacrificing the devil, harvesting that soul value, replacing them with a lookalike, and creating nothing but chaos in the world. They smile in the face, and they really seem genuine because they're excellent actors. They've been practicing daily. They want to remove this woman's rainbow covenant. They want to deny her God's blessing and wealth over her life. They are rejecting and denying the universal chosen representative. They insist they be given all that she has received in prophecy. They demand that they be given her chosen authority. They are telling everyone in the universe, this person, the person that they have placed in this position, has to be a man. But these men who have been running the planet have been RAPing babies, virgins, harvesting their tender souls, using their power and gifts, never meant to be in their possession, to harm other living beings, and then deceitfully convicting their sacrifice, their harvested sacrifice, of the crimes that they've been doing in their energy. They do not support the living, they feed on the living. God does not want these ones prostituting everybody across the universe anymore. He's giving the mothers back their dignity and their authority as the actual caregiver of the family unit. The one who makes sure that the tree does not become diseased. They are the portal. They are the gate for the stars and the suns to gain access here to this earth school, to add value to their soul, and to strengthen their bond with the Creator. The mothers bring forth life, and these nasty jacks RAP it, and then harvest the soul, torture it, and then sell the energy of it. They've been violating the family of God while portraying themselves as this family. These masculines are not human. They eat humans. They see them as a commodity, as a resource, as food, as slave. They hate the natural, organic woman. They should never be served by her. They should never experience presence in her energy. They should relinquish the life force and the opportunity that she gave them to breathe and be in the world when she gave them their life. The mother gave them life, and then they stole the life of the mother, calling her They say she has no value, man. She who made it possible for them to breathe and be so freaking cruel. These are thankless brutalizers of the living. They deny the mother. They deny the life that she gave them. KISS, the simple rule of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Life comes from the mother. They're demanding that it be a man in this position because they want to keep their genetic experiments going on their trapped slaves throughout the universe. God is tired of their mad scientists, their mad science creations, their mutations of creation, I should say. So is the mother goddess. These are her babies that they're doing mad scientist experiments on, that they are sexually violating and traumatizing the soul of before it ever has a chance to enter into its potential. These nasty jags, they don't want competitors. They don't want anybody to rise up and come into their power and to challenge their position here. Their feed fest. The things that these ones have been doing to the babies is heinous. All while smiling in the faces of people and presenting themselves as family men and women. They pretend to be righteous protectors, but they eat the purity of innocence. They have been violating humans for centuries. These men who insist that it be a man in this dignitary's position, they are not men. They are not human. They have been farming and eating and slaving humans for centuries, using their own gifts and energy to enslave them and harm them. They farm, F-U-C-K, they hunt them, they eat them, all while stealing their initiation and ascension rewards at the crossroads from the Star Nation's soul tribes, wealth and power. So they take the initiate ascension reward, they take the golden ticket, they get up there into this Star Nation soul tribe as this person, and then they proceed to destroy their wealth and their power structures. This is war. Their desire to keep this mother figure from this position is simply out of fear. Their fear of losing their authority over the tribes of the universe. That is the end of this particular message, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody.